On 5 News, the Prime Minister announces it's time to start living with COVID. It's the end of I'm Sian Williams. In the last few minutes, the Prime Minister has confirmed that all remaining legal COVID restrictions in England will be scrapped. From later this week, if you test positive, you do not have to self-isolate. And the access to free COVID tests for the general public will end in April. Instead, we're asked to exercise personal responsibility. For the PM, this marks a moment of pride as we learn to live with COVID. But while there's some hope that things might be returning to normal, others are urging caution. The virus is still with us. Many of the clinically vulnerable are anxious about the changes. And leaders in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland say it's simply too soon to get rid of mass testing. We're going to be hearing what these new changes mean for you. First, with the very latest, here's Julian Drucker. Chat with Julian now. He joins us from Westminster. And Julian, the Prime Minister has only really just delivered this announcement in the last half hour. What else have we heard from him? Let's look a bit more closely then at the science behind this decision, where we're at with the numbers, what the experts are saying. Our health correspondent Jones is with me in the studio now. Firstly, most people have been vaccinated. So how well protected are we now from COVID, do you think, Kathy?
Well, the best across it, and mainly, as you say, thanks to vaccines, but also due to infection. 98% of adults are now estimated to have antibodies. So even though Omicron is still circulating really widely, with 1 in 20 people in England sick with it last week, the man who represents public health officials across the country says
worst time, but these changes will have big implications, won't they, Kathy?
Well, I mean, we heard
for all that. So those changes, we should say, just for the lives of people across England. The other nations will be making decisions later. But Claudia Eliza joins us from Birmingham to see how the efforts to get electricity back have been hampered by yet another storm. And that's the third to batter the UK in a week. Storm Franklin has brought heavy rain as well as high winds, leading to hundreds of flood alerts and warnings. And at least one river has burst its banks. There's been yet more disruption to road and rail networks, and tens of thousands of homes are still without power. Now, it's the first time there have been 3 named storms in such a short time, as Alan Jenkins reports. Now we can see it's quite wet where you are still, Alan, but give us a general picture. What's it like throughout the UK, and crucially, what might be coming next? Really feels like those storms just keep coming at the moment. We're going to have a full forecast for you at the end of the hour. We've got another one at 5:30. Do stick around for that. Welcome back. Hopes of a diplomatic solution to avert war over Ukraine are still alive, just. The US says President Joe Biden might be prepared to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in the coming days, so long as Russia hasn't launched an invasion. The likelihood of that assault is still high, although Russia is denying it. The tension on the border continues to grow, as Catherine Nash now reports. Returning to our top story now, the Prime Minister's announcement about the end of COVID restrictions in England. Let's go back to Claudia Eliza in Birmingham. CL. Look at the weather now. See you in a sec. I'm Sian Williams. You're watching 5 News. Let's bring you some headlines. More on that because Julian Drucker is still in Westminster for us. Julian, this is the plan for England. What about the other nations? A short break now. In a few minutes, it's a day of huge. See you after the break. Where things are changing. For a high 5 today, we head down under for some emotional scenes as Australia reopened its borders to tourists. Now, people arriving, oh, something about hugging someone you love, isn't it? especially after a long time. That is it for now. Alex has the weather for you next. We'll see you again tomorrow at 5. From all of us here, from CL and the team in Birmingham, thanks for watching. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.